And just like that, everybody, we are live here. Another episode of Leap into the Week. Happy Monday morning to you, everybody. All right, I'm here with no other than our honored guest, as always, Mr. Patrick Fingles, CEO over at Leap. What's up?
What's up, CEO of Leap and Mouth of the South? We were just talking about precision speaking. And I was like, man, I'm gonna try to be a little more concise on this one. I was going tangents, but let's see how we go. It'll probably go for 45 minutes. It's supposed to be a 5-minute podcast.
The mouth of the South himself, Patrick Fingles. Here we go. Man, today's topic I'm excited to talk to you about because it's something that every single entrepreneur is going to experience, and that's getting knocked down, man. It's getting punched in the gut, and it could be any number of things. It could be by an employee, a competitor. We talked about competitors last week. It can be by a customer, all right? And so I want to get kind of granular with this one, okay? I want to first start with you just personally, because somebody out there, man, yesterday, this morning, today, whatever it is, they lost. They lost a deal. They lost an employee. They lost a contract. They've just gotten punched in the gut, Patrick. When you have this time, this moment, all right, can you talk about how you interpret it? How do you take it in at this point in your journey and your entrepreneurship journey? And has that changed in the last, say 5-10 years as you've grown and become a better entrepreneur?
So there's two things, and I love how these things all tie together. Like all these things that we talk about, you can see like I take pretty much the same disciplines and principles and apply them to every variable in my life. So I'm going to bring up some things, and if you listen to the earlier sessions, you would hear this. And week 1, week 2, week 3, even as soon as last week or the week before, I think there was some smatterings of it in there. So the question I want to ask is, how do you know you got punched in the gut? Let's work that through. Yeah, how do you know that you got punched? Customer, you this big deal got sold last night. You're super excited about it. Canceled this morning. How do you know that that's punched in the gut?
Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind, brother, is that it's a punch in the gut because I care about it. If I didn't give a crap about that deal, if I didn't care, it wouldn't hurt. Like I'm thinking about that punch in the gut.
So it
So for
hurts. It
me,
hurts. It hurts
it
in the gut. It
hurts.
hurts, right?
Yeah, because
Right. And the reason
there's some level of effort.
yeah. So, and the reason that punch in the guts hurt, man, in really, it's because it's like it's not supposed to happen, I guess. Like, are cancellations, are these punches, are they not supposed to happen?
I know where you're going. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we've talked about this in previous weeks, so I know a little bit about where I'm leading myself, what path I'm going down here.
Yeah. So, like, remember we talked about getting a flat
Happenings.
tire? That feels like you got punched in the gut, man. God, man, I can't believe this, man. I've been trying to get this lady to pay us for 3 weeks. She told me to meet her at the parking lot promptly at 4. I'm finally picking this check up, and I got a flat tire. Why me? Why does this happen to me? Let me ask you something. Are you supposed to get flat tires?
You're gonna get them. They're gonna happen.
And why are we going to get them? Because tires are made of rubber and there's nails on the road, right? Like, just it's pretty logical. So I know this sounds like you aren't going to believe me, but I have gotten myself to a place where it's very hard for me to delineate between what is supposed to happen and what is not supposed to happen. So I actually just call them happenings. The biggest context around a problem, and really that's what a punch in the gut is, like constant problems, is that problems shouldn't be. So what I've learned along the way is problems most definitely should be, not just for entrepreneurs, for children. For, my daughter's going to 6th grade. You don't think she's getting punched in the gut? My wife, she's not an entrepreneur. She's staying home. You don't think she gets punched in the gut? So, I've had this context that problems shouldn't be. It's a disruption in my day. It's not supposed to happen. Why me? And that is the biggest problem with problems. The biggest problem with the problem is that you can delineate that they exist. If you can get yourself to a place that problems should be, and they will be. So they're no different between successes and failures. It's all just part of the pot. Then you just start to deal with whatever comes at you. It doesn't make a difference whether it's perceived as a problem or perceived as a positive. And what starts to happen is you're able to deal with things in this clearer head, and you're able to just solve them. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're going to do anyway. You know, I mean, that's what you're going to do. That deal canceled. You're going to move on from it. You're going to call. You're going to try to save it, right? Maybe you do some cancel save training with the sales team, whatever the case may be. But like, you know, you're going to go into the motions anyway. So just go into the behavior. So I call them happenings. Because I was like, who should determine what should happen and what shouldn't happen? They're all just happenings. So now people like, because people create these things around problems. I look at problems as opportunities to get better. I can't even identify the difference between a problem and a success at this point. There's just all happenings in my life. There's things that are over here and there's things that are over here. You might think some things are supposed to happen and some things aren't. I've learned enough and matured enough to know that anything can happen. And I want to have a nice, clear head, deal with it the best way possible. We also talked about, remember you talked about going to bed on time and you were like, well, I can't leave work. And I was like, what do you mean you can't leave work on time, same time? You can do whatever you want. Right. So it goes down that same vein of like, oh man, this is a punch in the gut. It's a punch in the gut because it's interpreted as a punch in the gut.
Okay,
You
so let me
know,
let me
go
I
ahead.
want to forget. I'm sorry, I don't want to forget this because I know that there's going to be a lot of contractors who feel this way especially when you're beginning your business, Patrick, or heck, I mean, when you're in the growth, the growth stage. Um,
Hmm.
it was the second stage right there where you're growing.
Scale
Um,
up.
scale it. You're scaling the scale up
Yep.
stage. Okay, when you're scaling up, I think that you can attach your identity to the outcome of a project, a year, a quarter, a month, a week, a deal. You can it's part of you internalize it as being part of who you are. I'm the winner because I we closed this big deal. It is affirming to who I am as a man and who I am as an entrepreneur. And I think that you asked that question, why how do you know it's a punch in the gut? I think that what for me personally, what I've struggled with is like when I don't when I don't close what I think I should, it's like almost like it it takes the air out of who I am as a person. It feels internal. It feels personal. Like my identity isn't in line with what's happening right now.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I don't know if that makes sense, or maybe I'm going a little
And
bit too
how
out
does
there.
that reaction help drive results?
Well, it's not driving results. It's beating myself up is what I'm doing. And to be very frank with you,
Correct, man. It's a marathon. You know, if you've got
yeah.
punched in the gut, would you rather know it, fall down, feel it, agonize in pain, and then get up and finish the marathon? Or would you rather get punched and like you didn't even know you got punched, you just kept running? Like same thing's gonna happen. You're gonna get up and finish anyway. How long you want to lay there and roll around on the ground in pain? So like I totally get it. And I'm not talking about small things, man. I
No.
mean, I've walked into work before and like, hey, this leader, my sales leader is quitting. And I'm like, all right, sales leader just quit. Great. No notice. But that's okay because my number one sales guy can just manage the team till I get a new sales leader in here. Guess who just quit the day after? I mean, the world is tumbling. I get it. I've had lawsuits, I've had everything, right? And they all just come at you. And you just get to this place where you're like, Jesus, every single day I'm going to work up and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to work and I'm going to deal with whatever comes at me. It's just whether or not I'm going to carry this fucking baggage of stress and anxiety or whether I'm going to do it light footed. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. The outcome is going to be the same. We'll go out of business. I won't be able to make my payroll. I'll get sentenced to jail. Like, I don't care how big it is. Those things are going to happen regardless. It's just how well are you going to sleep at night?
Mm.
My first manager, dude, I was dealing with some crap. And so I was working in sales, selling windows like a freight train. And I was like every young salesperson, high maintenance. I was like a high performance player. Everything that happened to me in my personal life impacted my closing percentage. So my sales leader was not only that sales coach, but that therapist, like most sales leaders know that they are. And I was going through, I got married really young. I was 20 years old. I had 2 kids by the time I was 22. And me and my wife were going through a separation, and she was young and immature. And she had some issues and I didn't know where my kids were. And there was like Oh, you can imagine the stuff, right? And I'm this young person. I'm not equipped to deal with this emotionally. And like, dude, the pressure in my chest at that point in my life was hard,
Yeah.
real hard. And I walked in and he said, man, guilt's like a bag of bricks. Just sit it down and walk out of here. Just do the best you can and go whistle.
Yeah.
Just walk out of here whistling. It's not going to change the outcome of what will be. Your kids are going to deal with this shit. You're going to deal with this shit. You are going to get divorced. You're going to get back together. The anxiety associated with the actions does not impact the results for the positive, only for the negative. And I know it's hard, but I just walked out of there whistling. And
Yeah.
then I went and I dealt with all the same shit. And it wasn't great. It wasn't great for my kids. It wasn't great for her. But I just go through it. So I'm telling you, like when I wake up at work and I walk into anything, and you never know what life is going to throw at you any single day. It doesn't mean I don't get sad. I mean, if I come home and something happens to my children or something, of course, I get sad and I get anxiety. But I really try. Remember, it's the practice of leadership. It's not the perfection of it. It's the practice of it. But I really do try to practice that when you get punched in the gut, what hurts more than the physical punch is the feeling of being punched. So like the thing canceled, it's gone. That big deal. Who gives a crap? You got to move forward from it. You can move forward with a bunch of emotional baggage, or you can move forward whistling.
Well, let's kind of talk about.
Right? Go ahead.
Well, I want to talk about that to kind of end my final question here for you, because we've really kind of. I love the stuff we brought full circle right here that we've talked about before. But let's say you are that contractor, and we talked about this last week a little bit, but I want to kind of hone in on it for this last question. You have a bad reputation in your area. You've let your company get away from you. You've had some gut punches. Your company has taken it, your people have taken it, and they're going out there, man, and they're competing against a bad reputation now that maybe you personally, maybe as an entrepreneur, you've neglected your business and you know it. Now you're having to build back up. You're saying, okay, I'm committed now, Patrick, and I am going to get better. I'm going to start telling a better story. What is that first step, brother, that they need to take? They're on their way into work right now. They know their business has been struggling. They've neglected their business and their reputation. They've taken the hits and the punches. Now what? How do they turn this thing around? What is the first step you advise that individual as they're going into that business today?
Yeah. Mankind is highly forgiving, man. Who do you want to be? Who are you? Not what have you done? Like, I don't know. I mean, that's the most succinct way I know how to say it. If you go in and you get your employees and you pull them into the conference and you call in all hands and you sit up there as a leader and you say, man, here's what we've done, but it's not who I am. I want to be better than this. I want to do a better job than this. I want to be better for you. I want to be better for our customers. I don't even know how we got here,
You
but
ever
we're
been a
going to be
part of one of
better.
those
We're
conversations?
going to be better than this. And it's not a light switch, guys. This is not a light switch. This is a commitment. It's the first step. Tell me what we need to do. How do we get better? Let's make a commitment. Let's make a promise. Let's own our mistakes. Let's own the faults. And let's just get better and make it part of your sales story. I love what you said last week. You said, if you don't tell your story, somebody else will. We talked about the Better Business Bureau. We talked about having a bad Yelp record or something, going to a house and somebody calling you out on it. Then you have to go to a place of defensive as opposed to walking in there and like pulling it out and saying, hey, I have a one-sheeter. I want to tell you who we are as a company. We're in a state of transition. We made a lot of mistakes and we didn't do right by a lot of our customers. And they let us know, and they let us know online. So now a lot of our customers now are asking us, are you going to do those same things to me? And I'm here to tell you that this company has made a commitment, but we cannot be a better business if nobody gives us the opportunity to show them that we are. And you tug on the heartstrings of your consumers and you say, I am committed to ensuring not that there's no problems throughout your project, but that your problems are resolved swiftly. And then I'm going to stay with you and communicate until it's done. And that's a commitment I can make as an employee. I will be here until you're 100% satisfied. I can't promise you that we won't not ship enough shingles or something like that. I don't want to make those commitments to you, but I can commit to resolving any issue or challenge you have and being communicative and prompt and on time and giving that to you. And if I deliver that, then that's the first step in us turning our business around. And that's why these online reviews exist, right? Not to put companies out of business, but to let them know that they need to do a better job. And I think that the companies that say, hey, we heard you and we're going to do a better job and make those commitments, consumers got to give them a chance or else they'll never have the opportunity. It's like it's vicious cycle,
Yeah.
And so that's what we talked about. So it's the same thing. But it can't just be a sales pitch. There's got to be some merit behind it. And like I said, the reason I use the scenario of the single employee, because I'm a salesperson, I'm not even ready to vouch for the entirety of my company at this point in time, because I know we still have production issues.
Mhm.
But where I can make a change is when you're upset and my phone rings, I will answer it and I will attack it head on. Because I sat in a thing with the owner yesterday and he said it's going to take all of us doing something that we didn't do yesterday. Not all of us waiting for somebody else to fix it. And so, like, that's how you do it. And you just make it better. You make commitments, you make it better, and you put your weaknesses right on the top of the table. People love that shit because they always want to help, And so, like, they got 3 estimates from 3 other contractors anyway. At least you're unique and there's honesty. It's like the Donald Trump thing, man. You ever seen the Dave Chappelle skit on Donald
Oh, the
Trump when
Dave
they
Chappelle is just great. When he became a star, he's like, "Yeah,
yeah, when he
absolutely
became
right
a
in that moment."
star. He was
Yeah,
like, damn, punch it right back. Like, what I'm
it
saying?
was
In his Dave
it's so
Chappelle
beautiful.
voice. It's
Oh, it's
like,
so
man, he's like,
beautiful.
yeah, you created the rules, man. It's just the only thing Donald Trump had was like the shit was so outlandish. You're like, it's got to be true. It's true. Like at least the
Yeah,
guy's honest. I'll take that
yeah.
over a liar any day. So like, and it's the scars. So anyway, I love that, man. It's one of my favorite things. Dave
Oh, it's
Chappelle when
great, man.
he became a star.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so good.
You
You know
know.
what?
So anyway, that was a long speech, but I got a lot of passion in that because if you want to make your business better, it starts with you wanting to be better, not asking your people to do better.
Who are
You
you,
gotta
man?
go, you gotta say, here's where we are. I put us here. Here's who I want to be. You're the core. Here's who I want to be. I'm
Who
gonna
are
be
you,
proud.
man? I love that question to ask yourself, man, as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. If you are that one-star review, it's about time you came up and you said, "That's who I've been," you know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that's who I love what you said was last week, but that's not who you have to be.
Yeah.
Um, no one's saying that that's who you're relegated forever to be that person.
Yeah.
You can choose what the future holds for your company. And I love that when it comes to getting knocked down. Um,
Everybody loves a Cinderella story, man. Come on.
damn right we do.
You know what I'm
Um,
saying? I mean, everybody loves it, man. So create your Cinderella story, turn it around. And like I said, it's not something magical. Well, we're not going to be able to turn it around until we get all 2 contractors in here. Bullshit. Bullshit. You can turn it around by apologizing for a bad contractor. You can go out there. You can send another contractor out there to fix it. You go out there, you fix it yourself. You get your salespeople to answer the phones more. Like everybody just steps up. Like, hey, we're not going to not break shit because nothing's formally changed. It's still all the same of us. We haven't gotten like new systems and new processes. That's like episode 3 if you want to go back or whatever it was. But like, like all that stuff helps. But just the acknowledgement of when we make a mistake, we're just going to all run towards it. That'll clean your Yelp reviews up like that. Most of the time it's a bunch of people standing around pointing a finger, waiting for somebody else trying to assign blame instead of take self-responsibility, you know?
man,
So
it ain't that tough, everybody. Get in there and make something happen today. I love it. If you're not where you want to be, man, you can go change it today. But I'm going to couple things: happenings versus punching in the gut. We started. I love that. I love your happenings thing. It's a great reminder for me. I want to. I'm going to go back and do some work on this one right here, brother. Are you at a point, Patrick? I wrote this down to myself, where what should happen and what should not happen are almost together within the same pot. That was my question to me. And that's my question to people out there. Are you too high on your own horse, or are you too low? Or are you a person that you're effectively communicating throughout your day despite what is happening in your day? I think that's a great lesson for me, man, that I need to work on. I'll get back to you on that one. The successes and the failures in the same pot. And the final question I said, to myself and I ask everybody, who are you? Really ask yourself that question, who are you? And run your business today that's in accordance and in alignment with who you are. Some big takeaways I got right there, Patrick.
Thanks, man. Remember, it's my gospel, but it's just your listenings, right? So just
Well,
make your own gospel. Make your own gospel. I say it humbly. I talk with a lot of conviction. I do have some experience, and a lot of this comes from a place of experience, but it's the practice of leadership. And I'm learning a lot every day, and I'm making mistakes every day, and I'm dealing with the same things. I always see that I get to hire people out of maybe larger companies, institutions, companies that are valued at $1 billion. They come over and they tell stories. I'm like, that place sounds like it's run just like my roofing company, because we're all in it together. And most of us are just good people trying to make it happen. And like I said, the biggest problem I think most companies have is it shouldn't be happening. I think corporations have done a really good job of just tolerating and just saying, oh, like Target. They're like, oh no, we know we're going to lose 10% of our inventory to theft. Like, imagine if you were a roofing company, you're like, I'm going to lose 10%. I got 30 employees. I'm going to lose 10% of my inventory to theft.
no way.
So it's like, but it's like, man, you get so fixated on these things that shouldn't be that you forget just to enjoy the ride, man, and focus on the things that are working.
Damn right.
And it really holds you back, man. Just, so I think corporations have figured out a way to do that. And that's how they've become so successful, because they haven't done it on beautiful cultures and no theft and perfect process, right? They've done it on keeping their eye on what's important,
Damn right.
So just,
Stop holding yourself back.
yeah,
I love it,
just
man.
run, man.
Folks, we're going to be back next week with week 17. Leap into the week, as always, the Patrick Fingles. All right. Thanks so much for joining me, brother.